Okay. Hi. I just remembered to push the record button. Hello and welcome to our next painting webinar, the 31st painting webinar of 2021. So that's pretty amazing. And today is September 3rd, 2021. Yeah, that's nuts. And it's Friday, so thanks for joining us. We're gonna go over this. We're excited to go over this premise and image, and we'll talk about technical issues or technical aspects and also conceptual aspects. But this webinar is for the collection It's Over. And hi, Jen, how are you?
Hi, I'm great.
That was not a very good introduction for myself, but
You were fantastic.
okay, good. So let's get to it. So we uploaded the image in question, and that's the photo of the last soldier leaving Afghanistan on August 30th before midnight. Actually, it wasn't Tuesday, it was the 30th before midnight. So that's pretty amazing. And then a couple of things that I wanted to say. Let me just kind of, oops, sorry. Let me just, hold on one second. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. So the image is square. The image is square. So what I did, I'm just going to give you a couple of notes. Here we go. So I was able to print it out. I'm going to go over the format, which is where I'm going to be painting on. I'm using 12 by 16, and I'm using cotton paper. But because of the square format, what I'm doing is I just made a line to make this my format. So my format's going to be square rather than rectangular. And of course, we have options, even though we're using the same image, I would say. So you can play with your format and decide if you want square or if you want rectangular. If you want rectangular, you can play with two main options, vertical or horizontal. So you can decide and translate the image accordingly. So that's the first step in deciding creatively how to adjust the format of the photograph and the format of your painting. But I just decided to do a square because I've done a couple of images. I think the last one that we did was the one of the bathers, and it was a square. It was actually Polaroid image, and I just did a square format, and it worked pretty well. So that's what I'm going to do. And also, I love the fact that there is this round circle. This is the actual original, not the original, but the photo as one of the army departments tweeted the day off. And then that image was picked up by news agencies and by newspapers, and other people retweeted it. But this is the actual format. So there's something about the integrity of the format that I really like personally. And I'm going to stick to that original proportion of width and height, which means it's the same, which means it's square. So to me, having that integrity, and by no means I'm trying to say that the other formulas or options are not valid, but I'm gonna just try to kind of like get the image as it was tweeted and then go from there. Also, I have some charcoal. So I'm gonna go ahead, and the image is not perfectly, the photograph, it's not perfectly aligned with the paper, but I'm just gonna keep the same proportion of the soldier, maybe a little bit bigger. So what I'm doing right now, just gonna get the figure. How many focal points I'm gonna do? So clearly, this will be my main focal point. And then last night we were just chatting a little bit casually about anticipating this image, and Julie mentioned, it'd be interesting to find out if someone's going to do the background or someone's going to do the actual vignette. And that's also the next step, or that is actually the next step in deciding creatively what you want to do with the image, because we also have options right now. There is something here that feels not extremely detailed or recognizable, but what I see is that there's what seems to be the distinction between the tarmac, I think that's possibly what it's called, of the airport, and then some sort of buildings, hangars, or buildings right there, and some vehicles. So the way I see it, the way I would deconstruct composition like this image is that there's the figure. There's also a very important component that I want to add, because I think conceptually it's almost, apart from the figure, a very important focal point. It's the actual start of the ramp, because he's stepping on the ramp, and the ramp, there's a step on the ramp and there's a step on the tarmac. So I think that's personally, when I was looking at the image, it's very important. So I think that would be the second important line. And because of what I said, that I want to keep the integrity of the image, I am going to at least add the distinction between or the separation, between the tarmac and the buildings on the background, maybe incorporating the idea of like space, or making it look like there is something behind the buildings. And Jen, let me know if the sound is okay. Something happened with my computer, but okay, no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of bouncing back and forth from your mic to the computer, but it's okay. We can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think right now it's okay. So yeah, I think that's going to be, those are going to be my important lines. And then also this, the vignette or the shape of whatever night vision tool they use to take the photo. So I also like, or conceptually, I feel like that's important. It's not that it was a snapshot taken in a manner that feels staged, in the sense that, okay, now we're going to take a picture and you're going to do the step up here, and then let's see what the photo looks. It just feels like there's something about this that represents the idea of leaving at the 11th hour, without visibility, and not make an exit that feels like it's something that it's made to be seen, or there's a theater around it. It's just pitch black, and they took this image and no one is supposed to see it. So I mean, if you will, I'm just going to say there's something almost intimate and fugitive and clandestine about this end of a 20-year war, that it's been captured by a night vision snapshot of someone stepping on the plane. I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to an extreme, but there, I mean, as ridiculous as this looks as an image, there's nothing really spectacular. There are so many layers that really struck a chord conceptually and aesthetically, and in a really beautiful way. So there you go. You decide, do you want the ramp? Do you want the tarmac? You decide if you want the buildings. Of course, I'm going to do some abstraction right here, but there's something really cool about these street lights that are above the horizon line. There's almost this idea of like this being like a body of water. horizon line. I can go on and on, just bringing different, or threading or braiding different conceptual elements. And I love doing that. But ultimately, we want to put on the table as many options for you to decide conceptually what you want to do, because it's going to be a study, a green study ultimately. And we're going to do with this whatever we can. But I think conceptually, it makes it more valuable to understand that we had these cards on the table, and then we decided either to choose one or the other. So whether you do the figure and then you make it big on the 12 by 16 or 9 by 12, and you don't do the square, that's another option. Or you decide that you want to do square, but you want to incorporate the circle, but you don't want to do anything about the background, that's another option. We would encourage you to consider whatever thought that we are articulating, and in deciding how much you want to feature on your painting. All right, maybe that's, I probably, I don't know, I didn't take any talking pills this morning, but obviously I clearly needed to talk today. All right. I'm doing the vignette just because it's closer to the edges, and I feel like it facilitates the application of those crop lines. And we'll see. I mean, I can move things around. I'm going to do the figure, and I'm doing a potato shape. So I'm not going to get things complicated or anything like that. So I just set up the bottom part and the top part of what I think it's a figure. I'm just going to bring this. Yeah, I think so. Maybe this could be a little bit higher. And then I think of something very important. I love the fact that the image is not quite in the center. It's not right in the center, it's off. So I like this idea of this also taken in a very on the moment, without any planning, because it's not perfectly framed. So I think that's conceptually another line that I want to braid, and I'll make sure that it's not on the center, because quite easily I could make this the center of the composition, but I'm not going to. So maybe I'll just do it's also the point of view is like higher. The person taking the photo had like a much higher point of view, so there is a little bit of a foreshortening and distortion, which I also like. So here's like another line that I'm braiding conceptually, and I feel like now that I have so much on the table, I feel much more excited and anticipating this. So potato shape goes in. Here we go. Just like a very basic silhouette right now. I love the fact that it's tilted. I think I made it a little bit too vertical, but again, I'm just going to make sure that I incorporate that distortion. Just be aware that naturally what we gravitate towards is anything that's vertical, horizontal, and we shy away from making angles or diagonal lines. We're so hardwired to comply to the edges of our format that it requires an enormous amount of self-conscience, I don't know, or intention to change that conformity. You'll think that, you know, you're super smart and yeah, you got this, and then you're going to do the composition and it's just going to look vertical, horizontal, and maybe it's not going to matter. But conceptually, I feel it's very important, because again, this is it doesn't look like it's staged. So Jen, I don't know if you're gonna be able to find this, but I was doing some research. I went to a couple of down a couple of rabbit holes, and the same department in the military released more photos of the event. This wasn't the only one, and if you can find that page, it's quite amazing.
Okay, cool. I'll look right
Yeah.
now. I saw one of a face, but I'll see how many more I can.
Okay, I have the link. If you can find it, I'll open the browser and I'll do it. But it was interesting to see the rest of the images. And I mean, yeah, this is the most iconic one. Yeah, of course. But I almost felt like I wanted to paint some of those because they're pretty remarkable. And again, this sense of anguish, this claustrophobic sense of doing something in a clandestine manner, no theatrics in the sense a grand exit, no goodbyes, no farewells. So there's something really cold. It's pretty amazing, I have to say. All right, so this is what I'm doing, and I went over what I considered a long list of elements that are important to reflect on regarding what kind of composition you want. So please just reflect on all those, because that's going to be more important than making it look like that or not. So I'm just going to do the buildings a little bit, or whatever those are. And I'm going to create something a little bit more abstract for that. Because again, I just want to make sure that if I put too much definition on this visual plane, I'm going to make it look forward. This is going to look sandwich. And then I'm going to have something that it's not going to have the strength of an urban landscape, let's put it this way. So I have to be aware and careful not to make things too detailed in visual planes that are too far apart. And if I do, because there's nothing right or wrong, if I do, I have to be completely behind my decision that I purposely did more detail on the background because I really wanted to, even though I understood that that's going to flatten my illusion. So as long as you stand by your decisions, then go for it. But to me, the beauty or the point is to understand that everything that you factor in your decision will create a different painting. So, and I think that's what's exciting about this. Okay, so the lights, I don't know, there's something about the lights being over his head that I also really like. I don't know, but okay, I wish I had a bigger paper because I feel like this needs to be, but this is what I'm doing right now. I'm just rotating or pivoting from my elbow and making sure that that feels more like a circle, because right now it doesn't, but that's okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and polish a little bit more the potato shape. I'm not doing structural lines yet. So what I'm doing is I'm just going over this idea or this potato shape. And now that I have the placement, I understood that my decisions will create a specific painting. So off center, a little diagonal, foreshorten, higher point of view. Ramp is important. There's 1 foot on the ramp, 1 on the tarmac. Horizon line in a way, separating horizontal. And there's something about the fact that there's no one and nothing on the tarmac. It enhances the idea of, yes, this is the last thing or the last being on that country. And there's no one behind, there's no one in line, there's no one guarding or protecting or ushering or having some sort of like support behind it. That's it. It's an empty space. And I kind of like the fact that behind that empty space there is an existing construction. There is an existing building, almost as if the building tells me that that's going to remain on that reality, and this is going to be gone in the next 1 second or the next second. So the more I talk about this, the more I think I'm going to put those existing buildings because they reinforce the idea that these are staying, this is leaving. And yeah, very non-flattering image. It's not Instagrammable. It's not what we're used to. There's a little weapon right here, and this is kind of like goes against so many things that I believe in. It's just, but again, this is just such a powerful meaning. I don't know. I never thought that I would be painting as a soldier. And here I am, because I just think that something profoundly human about this image. I'm not trying to say anything. I don't know. I just feel like it's something really interesting about this. So I'm trying to build my already my structural lines, the lines that split up the silhouette. I love the step forward. There's something almost reminiscent in my silly mind of images, especially maybe, and I'm going to go on a tangent right now. That's going to be so ridiculous. I was so disturbed and not disturbed, but I was so irritated by those two jerks that spend millions of dollars going to space, and then they had this sort of like speech prepared, and they had all these theatrics around it, and they rang the bell, that stupid bell, and they wore a cowboy hat, and then up in the air they said the children will see that. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. And I'm bringing this up because of this idea of like stepping onto a new land, this idea of conquering something that I feel it's been embedded in a part of our species that always craves for new frontiers, I guess. But this is a different kind of step. It's a step back. And I don't think people have put too much thought into reflecting about this. It's not staged, and they're stepping back. They're going back home. They're stepping back into, their own home. There's the antithesis of those tiny penis theatrics that were so absurd. I wish they knew how ridiculous they looked, at least in a lot of people's minds. And I wish they took some kind of like lessons also. And I wish, not that it's kind of like wishful thinking, they would have maybe said something about this, this small penis guys, because this is like pretty amazing. I don't know. Okay, so the jacket, mostly I just I love the step forward. So again, a different kind of step. A more courageous step than stepping on the moon, first, whatever that expression was, that, a small step for whatever, a big step. Well, this is a big step. It's a big step for humanity, if you ask me. How about like correlating that idea, ending a war? That's a big step. That's a big step. Okay, so again, I'm gonna sort of like a treasure or enjoy the distortion of the image. Because there's something about that that imperfection. This jacket, it's a little bit higher, so I'm just gonna move the jacket a little bit higher. But yeah, this idea of imperfection that we talk about, you know, how it humanizes people. So yeah, I think that's good. Jen, did you find any images?
Yeah, they're all up.
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty wacko. I mean, I can definitely, especially there's one that's like the airplane and there's like a green glow within it that's got the night vision.
Right.
I definitely see, wanting
Yeah, it's interesting.
to paint it. Excuse me. Almost feels like they're um talking about those guys going to space. Almost feels like they're boarding like an alien spaceship or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's all crammed in and there's no negative space,
Mhm.
no visual
Exactly.
plane. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. All right, so I think I'm okay with I'm actually very okay with the amount of detail. And I am grateful for sort of like elaborating and articulating all these elements because I feel like uh, there's a difference between articulating your artistic intentions or deconstructing that image conceptually and then making a visual representation of that. And the difference is that you'll find this a much more rewarding experience because if you don't think of anything and you only concentrate on technical observational issues, you'll find this very mechanical and not really rewarding. So I am actually very happy that we went on to all this debriefing or listing all the things that we thought were important. I'm going to do a little bit of hatching. So what I also like is the fact that there's darkness around it. Yeah, that's I mean, I'm pretty sure that I want to imagine. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people reached out to this soldier. I would certainly, if I were the president of a news channel or show or whatever, I would want him to be on my show. So I'm pretty sure that because of being in active duty, maybe he's not supposed to do any kind of interviews, but it would be interesting to find out how things will unfold for him in the future when he's maybe not on active duty anymore, and then someone interviews him or something like that. There was a piece, I forgot. I want to say it was the New York Times, which I personally gave up on the New York Times a long time ago. But it may have been the Washington Post. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. That was the only piece that it was behind a paywall, so I couldn't read it, but the headline was not very flattering. It was saying something about, yes, this is a historic image, but don't be fooled. And then they essentially gave you or made
it was
you
the
understand.
Washington Post.
Washington Post. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take that back. Yeah. What's the headline?
The headline is the viral photo of the last soldier in Afghanistan is powerful, and that's why it's deceptive.
Okay, well, I couldn't read the criticism because it's behind a paywall, but
Oh,
I
I
thought
can
it,
read it. I can read it if you guys want me to.
well, if you want, can you just sort of like read it and then maybe just make some points about what stands out, and then tell us? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's I read it last night. It
Oh,
basically is saying that that although this shows like this powerful image being like the last boots on the ground, that there's many more Americans still in Afghanistan, whether they want to be there or not, and that even though this image is super powerful and you know ghostly and even like a little creepy, that it's not necessarily a symbol of um, like the last symbol that this war is over, because there are so many Americans still there and that we will probably go back.
all right. Well, yeah, true. No, but unnecessary.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm
Seriously.
not a military person, but it's just easy to kind of like give this kind of like criticism
Agreed.
when you're not there.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I don't know. Yes, yes, and plus, that it sounds to me that also it's also going to be what the right wing a right wing talking point, you know, and yeah, anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, True. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's technically it's true, but I don't know. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, that was good.
Sure.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so I think time-wise, I need to kind of like also manage my time. I think I'm okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start washing. And so my palette, actually, I should have done the work, but I didn't. And I want to talk about my palette. I don't care how long this takes us. Sorry, guys. So I put four paints: white, titanium white, sap green, yellow, and I put Hansa yellow. But if you have yellow, cadmium yellow, so go ahead. If you have cadmium yellow light, it's even better. But I got the Hansa yellow, and that's what I'm using. And then chromatic black. So this is my palette right now. And I want to do a study of the color because this is green, but I just want to study this green. So on the folder, I'm going to share it right now. I also added an image of an app that I talked about. Oh yeah, those are, yeah. And yeah, those are amazing. And there's some more also. It looks like Alien.
Exactly.
Movie.
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
alien.
Sorry,
Yeah.
someday. I'm just going to share the image. But before that, I just want to mention that sometimes I use this app. It's called Real Paint. I think it's not free, but it's not expensive. I don't know how much it is, but sometimes it's very helpful. So essentially, you upload a photo, and then you can just decide what kind of like limitations in regards to combinations of color, and then you can decide what paints you're using. So this is an option here. So I put Gamblin Artist oil colors. So there are many brands of paint, and it's not perfect, but from the photo, what I do is I point a green on the photo, and then the app. So this is the photo option. And then I just click on colors, and the app tells you how much of the colors you should put and what kind of colors you should use to create something that looks like this green. So I was curious because I don't want to spend too much time practicing a green, because I want to do Hansa yellow and black as a core, and I don't want to use like a straight green. At least the idea wouldn't be to use it right away. But I thought I wanted to bring a blue, but we have so many: the cobalt, the Prussian, the phthalo, the ultramarine, the cerulean, and who knows, I mentioned 5. that I didn't want to put all the blues right here and then spend time giving it a try. So I used the app, and the main colors are the yellow light, which I got, and then the cobalt teal, which I don't have, but it's more close, or it's closer rather, closer to cerulean than it is to ultramarine. So I had a hunch that cerulean was going to be the blue. And I think I'm glad that I wasn't far off. So what I'm going to do though is I have this Radiant Turquoise. It's part of the Radiant line. And I'm going to test the Radiant Turquoise because I feel that that's a color similar to the Cobalt Teal. So I'm going to practice some greens, but I needed to have a blue on my palette, not just yellow and black and green, just because I want to have fun with making greens. And I think I'm just going to give the Radiant Turquoise a chance, and then we'll see what happens. And if not, I'm just going to go ahead and get the cerulean. But for now, big brush. And yeah, those are the other images. This is another image of him, but a close-up. This is also a very interesting subject for a painting as well. And then there was a line of people, yeah, to get in and stuff like that. But really interesting. This is very alien. But yeah, that was the last plane. Yeah. Thanks, Jen, for uploading this. And they actually released those themselves after, which I think it's pretty, yeah, interesting. All right, here we go. So first off, what am I doing? I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna treat the sap green as a neutral. How about that? Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm gonna do the sap green as a neutral. Okay, so here it goes. Sap green, big brush, solvent, and let's do this maybe with some black and sap green. Darker to lighter, consistency very important. Be untidy and chaotic and messy, and yeah. And that's what I'm gonna do. Sap green as a neutral. You know, we always talk about the neutrals that we use being versions of the primary colors. We say yellow ochre is a version of yellow. Burnt sienna is a version of red. When we use Payne's gray, we said that's a version of blue. So I'm gonna pretend that this this sap green with black, it's going to be the neutral version of the greens that I'm going to use later. How about that? So I'm just, that's what I'm going to do. Using sap green with chromatic black. And I'm going to stain this whole thing. And this is already so much fun because I've never done this before, a stain with green. So already I'm just happy. All right, so this is just gonna continue. Color fields, remember staining, color fields, nothing needs to essentially fit perfectly or be constrained. We're not using lines as the guide to fill up the spaces. That's, we're painting, we're not coloring. So I think that's, I'm gonna tell myself that. And then this is a little bit darker. So here we go, sap green and chromatic black. And yeah, that step. No one, I didn't see anywhere the name of the person taking the photograph, but I just feel like that's important. It reminds me, it's so funny. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make such a jump that's gonna be ridiculous. So during the Stonewall riot, what's the name of the transgender person that we did portraits of, Jen?
Martha Johnson, is that her name? I don't know.
Yes, Marsha P. Johnson.
Marsha Johnson.
So, everyone talks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah, everyone talks about her, and then I think someone did like recently, as recent as last month, they did a pop-up sculpture in Brooklyn or New York or something of her, and and that's amazing. But I just learned that she actually wasn't the one that threw the glass on the mirror, or she wasn't the one that actually triggered the march. It was someone else, and even Marsha P. Johnson said that it's not me, it's not me, it's never, it's someone else. I forgot the name, but this reminds me of that. The person who took the photo is important as well. So yeah, we have the name of the soldier and stuff, but I don't know, I just feel like whoever took this photo deserves credit as well. I couldn't find it anywhere. So okay, so I'm just sorry for that little tangent.
I think I found his soldier's name.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I think those two go together, meaning like that's important. So I'll continue. This is a total an utter mess, and that's exactly what we need to be careful about. And we panic, we feel insecure, we feel like we've completely ruined this. And the hard part here is to steady the ship, or whatever that expression is, to make sure that you don't get distracted by this ghost thoughts, because we have to go through this. We have to go through this. That's it, and it's not going to be pretty, but we have to move forward. We cannot. I know that it's easier said than done, but judging at this point, it's not really fair to ourselves, because it's so much work that needs to happen. So just have that in mind. Have that in mind. Bringing judgment too early, it's just really not very efficient or practical or helpful. It's just gonna make you feel like more insecure, and then so I think that's that's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm gonna continue with post. Yeah, I'm just gonna block the whole thing. Yeah, gaps, who cares, this, boom, and I'm just gonna fill up the gaps, and maybe just lower this a little bit, because if I cut it later, I want to make sure that I don't have any blank spaces. And I think that's where I'm at, and I'm not unhappy. So I think that was good. I'm gonna now move to first notes, and I want to study the color, and I'm just gonna switch the brushes. So there we go. And I have like still 10 minutes to the first hour, so I'm feeling pretty good.
And Leo, as you're changing brushes, the name of the soldier is U.S. Army Major General Chris Donahue, and he's the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division.
But that's the person.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Were you not asking for that?
Oh no. I thought I was inquiring, or I'm curious about if they mentioned the name of the photographer or the soldier who took the picture.
Oh, sorry about that.
No. My yeah. So
oh yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. Let me.
Yeah, it's just because I just feel like that's pretty, and maybe I don't know. Maybe the fact that we don't know, it also gives you this idea of this being non-staged, whatever that is. So that is the expression. Which
yeah. So right. So it's what it says here is this photo is just says U.S. Army via Rutgers or whatever, and then the one of his faves is Army Master Sergeant Alex Burnett. So maybe it's the same person. Do you know what I'm saying? So like the one of just his face, of Chris Donahue's face,
Oh, I see. Okay.
the photographer is Army Master Sergeant
Okay,
General
perfect. So maybe it's the
Ahmed.
same. Yeah.
So maybe
Okay.
it's
Well,
the
that's good.
same, but the only thing credited for this particular image is US Army. But you know, it could just be an image from video that they just screenshot.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it could be something like that.
Yeah, because the other one feels more like a photo and this feels
It
more like,
does.
okay, yeah. I love it. I think that's even better conceptually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just be an image
Wow.
that we captured on
Thanks, Jen.
film. I mean on video.
That's a great point.
Sure. All right, I'm gonna find the person that was not Marsha P. Johnson.
Oh, yeah, please, because sometimes I just drop in, especially when I drive. I drop in conversations on Clubhouse, which is now essentially 99% garbage.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
it's total garbage. But there are some rooms and there are some people that when they talk, I want to listen to them. And, I switch back and forth between painting stuff and then LGBTQ stuff. So I just go back and forth because I love being in rooms where I listen to transgender people of color, and then people that are much older than me and that they lived in New York in the 60s and 70s. So I learn a lot. So in one of the rooms, someone was friends of Marsha P. Johnson. Actually, they were friends. And then he in the room brought it up and said, just to make sure, and I think it's in Wikipedia or something, she's not the one that actually triggered the riot. It's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, what? So, and then she even said that she wasn't and blah, blah, blah. That was really interesting. Anyhow, but sorry about this. But maybe not sorry, because sometimes this kind of like micro event, it's something that happens historically in any situation. I'm just gonna transpolate or whatever that word is, to artists who are male artists, and then they're married or they're spouses or they're in a relationship with someone else who is actually the real person who made them either successful or gave them the idea or made their career possible. And those are never mentioned, and they're swept under the history rug. And yeah, so anyhow, I'm just going to go back to study the color, and I'm already thinking that the black and Hansa yellow may not work here. So because of one of the tutorials that we did that helped us learn so freaking much, and basically, I'm so proud of all the tests that we did. We know that yellow and black make green, and I'm just testing it, and it's not a good green. It's a great botanical green, but this is not the combination that I was looking for. So yay to testing the color during first notes. So now I'm going to bring some yellow and sap green, yellow and sap green. And that is pretty good. That's pretty good, but it's not quite there yet. So I know that it's yellow and it's going to be yellow and sap green. I'm going to bring that teal color. It's too white. All right. It's too white. It's too light value-wise. Okay, so this tells me that we will need to add some blue here. So no question about it. So I'm going to bring my bag of blues, my bag of blues. The Radiant turquoise is not working. We're going to go to plan B, which I said was going to be cerulean rather than ultramarine. All right, for a second, I had a mental lapse. So let me just do sap green, ultramarine blue, and Hansa yellow. Ooh, I think this will unlock. Oh, yes. I am. These are the tiny things that make me happy in life. My elbow hurts like crazy, but I don't care because we just created gold using this color alchemy that we love so much. All right, you guys. So here's the secret formula. Sap green, Hansa yellow. If you don't have Hansa yellow, cadmium yellow light. If you don't have cadmium yellow light, cadmium yellow. But please buy Hansa yellow because it's awesome and it's non-toxic. And cerulean blue. And we got the non-toxic alternative. Cerulean blue has, I forgot the pigment that is not good, but we have cerulean hue, which is the, yeah, cerulean hue, which is the alternative. Thanks, Jen. So, and then it creates a fantastic green. Fantastic green. Oh my gosh. Okay, how can we make this green darker? All right, I'm going to bring the chromatic black to this combination. And I'm going to test. This is way too dark, so I need to be careful because this is not black. The vignette is not black. Okay, so, all right, I think that's good. I think that's good. I don't want to bring gray. I don't want to bring gray. No, I'm not going to bring gray. That's what it's going to be. Okay, so I just added chromatic black, and I think that does it. And then the darkest black, and I'm going to start with those colors right up there. Okay, so that works. All right, so I got the formula and I'm going to start darker to lighter with my first note. So remember, first notes is color, specific color blocks, a little bit more specific. And then color study. It's when we are actually engineering and creating the color palette that goes with the painting that we're doing. And I'm just going to use a medium brush, and here we go. I'm so happy. We're just going to do this. Sap green, and that's going to be the formula, yellow and cerulean. And that's going to be that formula everywhere. Everywhere that's a little darker. So I'm just going to, this reminds me a little bit to the airplane windows assignment in a way, when we did the border of the window. And I need much more of the pigment right now because I only use 4 colors. So that means that I need to bring much more, but that's okay. So first notes, darker to lighter, and I'm not gonna go by focal point right now. I'm going to by value. First notes, I tend to treat the first notes identifying the value scale on the entire painting and not focused on which focal point I'm going to treat next. That's second notes. But I need to build color here. I need to build some opacity. And that's what I'm doing the first notes. That's why I studied the color. That's why we created the palette. And I'm so happy that we tested things. And you know, the thing about not using green or just using more colors than green is that every time you make a little mix blend of paint, it's not going to be the exact same hue. Now it's a little bit more blue, and then the next time that I do the same puddle, it's going to be a little bit more yellow, and that brings some interest in the color. If you just nail the color and then you paint it, it's just going to be very boring. Yeah, and I think All right. Next darker is the tarmac and the background. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. And I need to, I need to actually bring the yellow. I have the cerulean right next to me, which I don't know where it is. The Hansa and the sap. Let me just bring them also. The Hansa yellow, the sap green, and where's the cerulean blue? I'm an expert at grabbing something and immediately losing it. That's my specialty. I think I put it back in. Like, oh yeah, I found my keys. And then boom, lost. It's just ridiculous. I found it. I found it. Okay, so I'm gonna bring some sap green. I'm so excited, so excited. Hansa yellow. I have a lot of cerulean blue, but I need more Hansa yellow. And again, we're using Hansa yellow. We did like a thorough test with cobalt alternatives to yellow, and that was an amazing tutorial. Amazing tutorial, and it's on our website and on the tutorial tab. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to bring a little bit of cerulean blue. And here we go. I'm gonna get this green ocean water with no one else on it. I think, yeah, I think that's good. Oh, so happy. I'm so happy. This is such a great subject, I have to say. Thank you guys for being there. I know that some people were not able and they're gonna be mad. But it's okay. Patient, there's a big negative space, and I know that this is lighter, so I'm just gonna make sure that I change. This is it. That's the palette. That's what I'm gonna stick with those tones, and I'm not bringing white yet. I'm not bringing brown. I'm not bringing any other tone. I think for a second I thought maybe I need to bring some gray because I love gray. It's a great neutral tone that helps me disperse the pigment in a way that maintains the color, but it just lowers the pigmentation. But I think we can manage because we have white and black, and if we need to, we can do it. I'm putting way too much oil here, so notice that this is like a little transparent right here, and that's a red flag. It means that I need to rely more on paint and less on medium, and then that's something that that will happen. You know, you feel like you want to stretch the paint that you have, and then it's just going to give you transparent. Jen, any news on who actually threw the shot glass on the mirror?
Yes, I found an article. Back to it.
It's like now that people are starting to recognize Marsha P. Johnson, and it ends up being like someone else.
Yeah, they credited Marsha P. Washington, and then they credited someone named like Sylvia Rivera. And what they realized is that neither of them were there the first.
So there was someone called Coco, some Coco. I think I remember the name Coco.
The woman that I found. For some reason, this is not opening. Wait, hold on. Ah.
Okay, it's not important.
No. I'm doing it. Okay, I put it in the in the notes, but it says the title of the article is When Remembering Stonewall, We Need to Listen to Those Who Were There. And so it talks about, it is said that these riots began when a patron, quote, threw the first brick. And then it talks about.
Oh, yeah.
It says, in addition to crediting Marsha P. Johnson with throwing the brick that started it all, historical accounts often cite Sylvia Rivera as the person who started the Stonewall riots. But it's critical that we listen to the words of Stonewall's vanguard activists and how they contextualize themselves within history. It says both Johnson and Rivera denied being the first to fight back against police during the uprising.
Right.
In interview from the 1970s, where Johnson recalls the events of the historic night, she confirms the riots had already started by the time she arrived at the bar. Similarly, Rivera delivered a speech in 2001 clarifying, I have been given the credit for throwing the first Molotov cocktail at the historians, but I always like to correct it. I threw the second one. I did not throw the first one. Okay, so then it's like stated by Miss Major Griffin Gracie, who said that she did not see either Johnson or Rivera. Okay,
the plot thickens.
It does. Okay, so then here we go. Okay, a number of patrons were handcuffed and escorted outside by police. Among them was a butch lesbian who resisted.
Yes.
Yep, and repeatedly tried to escape before she was.
That's the one.
Yeah, before she was struck in the head with a baton. Then she punched the cops, shouting to bystanders, "Why don't you guys do something?" This, quote, first punch is considered the inciting movement that motivated others to fight back against the police.
That's right.
The identity of this woman remains uncertain, but historical accounts suggest that it was Stormé.
Yes.
De Lavari?
Yes.
A Black biracial butch lesbian and drag king. In 2008, when De Lavari was asked why she didn't come forward and take credit for her actions, she answered, quote, because it was never anybody's business.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I mean, I'm just, yeah. So Stormy. That's the name that was dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? And there was someone in the room kind of like saying, isn't it interesting that it was a Black woman, the person who actually is responsible for triggering pulling the trigger, whatever expression of that revolution. I think that's very important. And I think, here we are, a person of color and a woman, being sort of like not that problem. I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, but yes, Stormy. I mean, we'll see how things develop, but is she still alive? Sorry, I'm taking so much time. This is not about this. I'm so selfish. Because I think it's historically this happens in other circumstances. All right, so I'm just continuing. Yeah. Yeah, and then I'm just doing the tarmac, and then okay, I just I'm going to start with a figure. Let me just kind of like use some yellow, and I'm not gonna use white, but I see sort of like a minty green right there, but I'm gonna start piecing together those elements, making sure.
She died. Oh, sorry, Julio.
No, go ahead. Yes, she died.
She died on May 24th, 2014. I'll post a picture of her.
Wow.
She was 93.
Oh my gosh.
She died in Brooklyn.
Wow. Well, I don't know. It's just pretty significant, and it's just pretty significant. I'm sorry.
They call her the Rosa Parks of the gay community.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna scream right now. That's so cool.
Love it.
You know what? We need to do something about it sometime, maybe next summer or whatever, because I think, we always pride ourselves to be ahead of the trend. So I think, it would be interesting to do something about that, because not many people know about it. And then I see all these statues and mentions, and that's not accurate. It's interesting. It's
She
just
was
interesting.
photographed by Diane Arbus.
No way.
Yeah. And so it says her influence on fashion with her theatrical experience in costuming, performance, and makeup. She could pass as either a man or a woman, black or white. Offstage, she cut a striking, handsome, androgynous presence and inspired other lesbians to adopt what had formerly been considered men's clothing as streetwear. She was photographed by renowned artist Diane Arbus, as well as other friends and lovers of the arts community in three-piece suits and men's hats. She is now considered to have been an influence on gender nonconforming women's fashion decades before unisex
Oh,
became accepted.
I'm.
Oh, she suffered from dementia.
Oh,
Bummer. She
all
died.
right. Well, we're just you guys have heard it first here. It's not Marsha P. Johnson, although she was amazing. All right, there you go. Sorry. Thank you, Jen. It was like interesting.
It's amazing how we jumped to this.
I know. I'm so.
There's pictures of soldiers, and I mean, well, this woman is a bit of a soldier, isn't she?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can extrapolate. That's the word. You can extrapolate this example to other aspects in history, where either minorities or whoever wasn't sort of like in power, or they took credit for things. Not minorities. Whoever wasn't a minority took credit for things that actually other people were responsible for, whether it's a career in art. Whether, I mean, we see examples of this every time, all the time. And it's amazing that for a community that prides itself or kind of like making sure that they explain the history of this, they missed this point that it wasn't actually, although she was very important, but it wasn't actually, especially because during the Obama presidency there was a lot of Stonewall was in the news all the time, and then he didn't he go there, or there was like a mention or made like a historical place, and the movies came out and about Stonewall and blah blah blah, and no one got it right.
Okay, I'll tell you who did get it right. You're gonna die.
I'm sorry?
The people that got it right, there's a drunk history. Do you guys?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. So there's a drunk history of Stonewall, and I'm pretty sure that they got it right. I'm gonna like do a quick review right now.
Oh my gosh, that's actually quite hilarious and awesome.
Yeah, let me review it before I disclaim. But I remember watching it, and now everything feels like, oh yeah. let me review it, and then I'll confirm.
Okay. All right. In the meantime, you guys, I am working with greens and with a bit of cerulean and yellow, and that it's creating variations. And so yeah, and this whole conversation started because we said that we don't have the name of the person, or maybe now we do, because it's mentioned in a different image that actually took the photo. And we said that, that's an important name as well, not just a soldier. And the reason why we ended up there, it's because regardless if the image was intended to have this organization, composition, or it's a really powerful, powerful image. And we went over at the beginning of the session about all the important conceptual details that we suggested you consider when you paint this. And I thought it was an amazing way of unpacking the narrative of the image. So it would allow us to decide what we want to feature or not. And I feel like in the end, we just did a good job in really understanding why this is so amazing, the image itself so amazing. So that's why, and they brought up the historical example of something that it's considered so fundamental for a community, and that it got the wrong protagonists, or the community got the protagonists wrong, which is it's pretty amazing. So the green is changing a little bit. My eyes are getting acclimated, and I think I'm just using a little bit of the radiant turquoise because yeah, I think that's what I'm doing. So it's just to bring a little bit of variations. I am going to, oh my gosh, okay, so I'm not gonna tackle the soldier because I feel like I want to do the darker areas. Remember, I'm in first notes. I'm going darker to lighter, and I am following actually the value scale. I'm following the value scale. Of the painting. Anyhow, I hope you guys are having as much fun as we are, just creating this green that we've never created before. And blocking out darker to lighter areas. All right, okay, so here we go. I'm gonna do slightly more yellow here. Still with some cerulean, but maybe just bringing cerulean and yellow. Let me see, cerulean and yellow. Yes, okay, a new color that I just created, cerulean and yellow. It's quite bright. And but I think it's just working. Just gonna block the whole thing out. I don't have time. I don't want to spend time on this. I really want to focus on something else for the last half an hour. And I'm just gonna create an approximate abstraction, that doesn't make sense. An abstraction of what I see, just because it's not extremely important definition wise, but it is important because we talked about how it makes the figure much more isolated in the sense that the buildings will remain, the figure is not there anymore. So I think conceptually that's a very important aspect, to include the buildings to make the figure look even more so like there's a departure and not just a figure with a non-defined background. So I think that's also the conceptual reason why we're doing this. Do you have to do this? No, you don't. But we kind of like went over all the cards, as many cards as we could, and put them on the table so you decide if you like that approach or not. So ultimately, you guide your own process and make your own creative decisions. But yeah, it's almost like let me put it this way, because I think that's a very important. You know, we always talk about observation and how we are anchoring our creative language based on observation, meaning we are looking at something and then we're painting it, we're making a translation. So I think that's pretty important, and we essentially anchor our art instruction heavily on the aspect of observation rather than visualization, which we made a distinction also in the past. Well, there's observation that it's not necessarily visual. There is the visual observation, and that is what kind of color, where it is, how I'm going to do it. And there's negative space, and then there's composition, and then there's scale, and there are visual planes, and I have to make sure that the axis line is this way or that way. All that is related to visual observation. But there is also conceptual observation, and it requires a certain level of muscle building, because people say, you need to exercise your observational muscles. Well, your conceptual observation, it's so important. And that's what we did, Because ultimately, and I know that this is a little bit abstract, but as a painter, there's always a point where people will tell you, you need to find your voice. You need to find what is that you're going to say as much as how you're going to say it. And I feel like sometimes artists only work on how to say what they want to say. They don't work on exactly what message they want to convey. So the how to say things is the technical aspect. It's your style, it's your way of using paint, it's your way of understanding color. So that's the how. But the what you're going to say comes first. So find, I don't like that expression necessarily. Find your voice. It's kind of like, okay, all right, I have a voice. What do you mean? What do you mean? But then the more I thought about it, it's like, what do I want to say when I paint? What is really something that it means a lot to me, that I really want to express in this amazing universal language? That's not easy. You need to put in practice your conceptual observational skills. And that means get that image or that idea and truly unpack it. What it is that really connects with you. And yeah. So I think that's what we did at the very beginning with the conceptual aspect of this photo. Okay, so hopefully I'll be able to fish the recording before, and I'm recording this now again, and I'll be able to put it together. I don't know. So if I'm not able to, you guys will be part of a very exclusive, we will be part of a very exclusive club. And that'll be it. No one else will be able to replay that, but hopefully I'll be able to fish whatever that is. Am I be able to? Oh yeah, it's fishing. I'm converting. Yeah. All right. Sorry about this. I had like an internet outage that lasted just a couple of seconds. Okay. And everyone is fine, right? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Everyone's great.
Okay, awesome. Good. All right. So I have 3 minutes before 12:30. So I'm just going to use those 3 minutes to actually create or work on this area and bring some of this down. I think that's good. And the last half hour will be to work on the soldier. And you know what? I'm going to take a mini break just because I want to read to you. I did it yesterday, but I think it's very important because I just find this text very revealing. And this is an image that I wasn't able to share. I don't know, for some reason, sometimes when I transfer the photos, they just jump back in time. And I miss this painting of all the things that we put together, all the images that we put together. This is a painting by a contemporary artist named Luc Tuymans from Belgium. He's still alive. I love his work. And so there was a very well-written paragraph accompanying the image. And I liked it because it explains the process. And we know that those are very secretive messages that no artist reveals just because they give their process away. But this, it's interesting because it allows us to understand his process. And I actually learn a lot about myself and what I'm going to try to do. So essentially it says that he works from old photographs, newspaper illustrations, and he draws upon the act of remembrance and the function of collective memory, which I feel like, because we're doing representational, representational kind of work, I love this idea of remembrance and contributing to our collective memory. But anyhow, so describing his process, Tuymans explained, I usually finish a painting in a single day, partly in order not to lose my concentration, and partly in order to have the chance not to come too close to the image I am using as my model. Sorry, I just read it a little bit differently, but anyhow. So, and there was too many like negatives here that make it a little bit confusing. Maybe the translation, or who knows, I think he lives in New York. The idea here is that he's confessing that he works on paintings on one session. So he uses whatever he's got in one single session. And we don't know how long those sessions are, maybe short, maybe long, but the concept is, I'm going to give it all I've got in one session only. And the reason is because he essentially feels like his concentration and focus would be at its highest if he does it in one take. So in other words, we know how hard it is to get back to a painting and then trying to kind of like reconnect and continue that. So I like that idea of like, okay, I got one shot, I'm going to concentrate, I'm going to put all I've got on it, and then keep that focus going through the entire process. And the second reason is because he doesn't want to come too close to the actual subject or the image reference. So if he uses one single shot or one single session, he knows that he won't be able to make it way too photographic. And that gives the painting some authenticity and validity. So that's it. I just wanted to mention that. And then it goes on and on about the concept. But I like this idea of approaching this in a way that it's only one shot, and then we get the most out of it and we don't get too photographic. So I feel like that's not me. I need more than one session, and I feel very insecure about my work. Sometimes I need to work on it a little bit more and more when it doesn't have to be worked that much. So perfect, half an hour. So I'm going to work on the actual soldier right now. So I'm switching from different focal points to the actual soldier, and I'm going to start doing darker to lighter and pixelating. I'm pixelating right now. It's a combination of first notes and second notes, but I'm totally pixelating. And this is something that Dina, she's not here today, or she's not watching this live, but we've all seen how she finishes the session and then she continues and then she finishes the painting. So in other words, we see her work after 2 hours, and then I get a notification in the folder that she uploaded, and boom, the painting is done. So, and she likes to work that way. So I can't do it today, but I think that's something that I'm gonna practice and see if we can do it. And you know, I'm not gonna use this as an excuse, but if you try teaching and painting at the same time one day, It's not easy. So yeah, that's a different thing. All right, how's the drunk history going, Jen?
Sad news.
Oh no,
Yeah, it was Marsha P. Johnson. They didn't
wait,
get it right.
but wait, what do you mean? Like, I mean, that's their version of it. It's not their.
That's their version.
Okay.
Yeah, the Marsha P. Johnson. Yeah, their version was that Marsha P. Johnson was.
Okay, no, but we're going to with the version of whatever you. I don't care. I'm going with that other version.
Right.
You got me too
Right.
excited now. Anyhow, well, thanks for checking.
Sure. Sorry, guys.
No. And so darker to lighter, pixelating, and I'm just picking up speed. I'm just gonna pick up speed because I really want to form this up a little bit more. I'm not using any white yet. I'm just keeping the white for later. But I'm gonna try to get that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that idea and that painting. I'm sorry, the Luc Tuymans painting of the soldier. It's pretty ridiculous from a technical point of view. It just feels like the Wizard of Oz. What's the Tin Man up from the Wizard of Oz? So it's just pretty ridiculous. But hey, I mean, I like the process. So it is what it is. That's it. Take it or leave it. That's what he did. He stood by it. That's his painting of the soldier. And that's it. Moving forward. I like that confidence. And I wanna apply it. I want to learn to apply it. I don't know how that's gonna work, but yeah. I mean, his prices. I'm sorry, his prices are. He can do that because it's a lot of money for a Tuymans painting. It's really expensive. I don't know how he made it, but he did. He made it. I mean, I'm sorry how he achieved that level of financial recognition. That's a better way of putting it. But he did. Okay, I am just doing the darker areas right now. There's this thing on the vest. And I think now I'm bringing the white. I'm going to create a pastel note. That's it. And I'm going to bring, this is not good. So it almost looks, I need to test it. I need to test the white. This white, it's all over the place. It's not really that. It's a little, it has more white on it. Just so interesting because the daguerreotype exercise made me understand that sometimes I make the highlights way too light. And it was sort of like interesting to understand and be aware that those highlights were much darker. Okay, I got it. There's a little bit of like everything in there. I don't know how I made it, but it's not too yellow and it's not too blue. And I got the highlight. So I'm gonna pixelate it right now. Gonna pixelate the highlight, a little bit of the medium that we're using, which is actually all oil. It's a combination of stand oil and flaxseed oil, and I just love that combination. And if you have the non-toxic solvent, that's perfect too. But I am just going to pixelate the highlights And right now I'm kind of like rushing. And so let's sort of like translate and apply, because this is like the final sprint. And I don't want to make this too much of a sport, although I'm going to mention something that I've mentioned in the presentation. But I am putting my entire focus right now. I'm plugged in completely and I'm just moving forward. I'm no dilly-dallying in the sense of like, I'm not going to spend a second thinking, oh, well, this is not, I don't know. No, I'm just all in. And it's just not, as you guys know, it's not easy to have like this very focused concentration, that it's not giving room to any judgment. That's what I'm intending on being. So yeah, I'm just doing that. And at the same time, as I say this, I wanted to mention about painting being an Olympic sport before, or a few, I think the 1948 were the last games where painting was part of the competition. What happened? What the heck? Who decided that that wasn't a good idea? Painting, poetry. Can you imagine today having painters represent their countries and doing like a competition? I mean, it sounds so good. Yeah.
Who would always win?
Oh. Oh no. Don't you think it would be a great idea to have that back?
Cool. It's tough though, because it's so subjective.
Right. Well, guess what the reason why was to remove that.
Oh,
So
why?
someone said, and that's based on the Wikipedia article. I don't even know if that's true or not, but someone said that artists were considered professionals. So therefore, they shouldn't be participating on an event that was made for non-professional people to compete.
That's hilarious.
Right. They use that kind of like card, meaning, you know, I don't even know what, but if you look into it, I was like, what? I mean, these are professional artists, but at the time, the term professional had a different meaning. And it's sort of like was a disadvantage.
Right. I remember when you had to be a quote amateur to be in the Olympics, but those things are gone. I mean,
you do, Jen? That was a thing, right?
That was a thing, yeah. But those days are gone because, you know, now it's like Serena Williams, isn't, you know, like LeBron and, you know, like, I mean, not in this past Olympics, of course, but Kevin Durant was in the Olympics and he's a major superstar. And, you know, even some of the skateboarders, you know, they get paid for their profession. And obviously Simone Biles is, you know, her completely paid. And I mean, and Sean Green and Sean White, sorry. And yeah, you could go on and on and on of, you know, the professionals in the Olympic.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah, but I mean, but I'm just saying that it did used to be, you had to be an amateur and it did change. I hope I'm correct in that. You guys will correct me.
Well, that's what it says on the thing, on the article, that, you know, artists were considered professionals and that they didn't qualify for that, which is total nonsense.
That's so funny because artists get paid for their work. That was considered the professional part.
I don't know, but I thought, you know, that's like made me laugh. I said, what? But all right, so this is what we're gonna do, Jen. We're gonna start. What's the petition website? Because I bet you there's not a single petition to bring back painting into the Olympics. Let's do it.
Okay, let me see. I'll look and see if there's one.
All right, change.org. That's what we're gonna do. As Roofless Painters, we're gonna start a petition, bring back painting in the Olympics. So yeah, that was like the reason why I mentioned this in the presentation. It's because we were selecting images of paintings, and then some of the artists, we have no idea who they are, especially, you know, there was a Swiss artist who was very well known in Switzerland, but we didn't know. So one of the things that he was famous for is because he won the gold in painting in the 20s. There was an Olympic Games in the 20s. And I was like, what? And then I just went down the rabbit hole and I just read that professional versus amateur in order to compete. Which obviously in today's world, that's, as you said, it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so I'm just going over again, I'm kind of like focused, and my intention is to advance this as much as possible. And I just need to close the gaps and then just bring a few midtones, So I'm mixing yellow and cerulean straight up. And I'm going to give another pass to the upper part of the soldier with some, I'm squinting my eyes just because I want to make sure that this doesn't feel too solid, too Lego-like, you know. I'm using a medium brush and kind of like shorter bristles because I want to avoid, yeah, having that Lego look.
Okay, I found the medal counts of the countries.
Germany #1, right?
Yes, with the list of Olympic medals in art competitions. #1, Germany with 7 gold, 7 silver, 9 bronze, a total of 23. #2, everybody, is Italy, 5 gold, 7 silver, 2 bronze, with a total of 14. #3, France. I bet they're pissed about that. 4 silver, 5 bronze, a total of 14. #4, the great United States.
Oh, wow.
4 gold, 5 silver, 0 bronze, a total of 9. And tied with us at 9 are Great Britain and Austria. Then Poland, Finland, Switzerland, Belgium, Netherlands. It was on and on and on.
Wow, yeah.
Last of the 23, Monaco.
That's pretty, yeah. I was, Spain is not on the list, by the way. I don't know what the heck we're doing, but I don't think they were that civilized at the time or something, or maybe it was the Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of like stopped that situation. And, you know, maybe there's something about, because I know that the last time they did it was 1948. So maybe there was something about the Second World War that, I don't know, there must be a book or historian, a PhD thesis that kind of like goes over why this got truly stopped. And I just don't believe that it was only the professional versus amateur thing. So maybe, but I just find it very interesting. And so I'm starting to kind of like blend a little bit because this feels too much, too costumey almost. And I just feel like I need to blend a few edges. So I have no paint on my brush. And I'm gonna try to fill in to the best of my ability. I'm truly going to put Olympic style. I'm gonna put my concentration and my complete focus on this and see if in this next 10 minutes or so, I can get as much as possible I will work on this one more session, but I just want to leave it in a place that makes me feel that it's pretty solid. That shoe, my gosh, it's terrible. That shoe, what am I going to do about that shoe? I need to blend the pixelation of the highlights so they feel a little bit more integrated. They feel like, they're just giving me that sense of cylindric. It's coming along. It's coming along. It's working. So here we go. No paint. And I need to build that shoe, that step that we talked about, that historic step, that courageous step. Enough of this kind of like nonsense, micro penis, space ridiculousness. I was reading that the guy Bronson, he is not being allowed to fly again because something went wrong on that flight. And they could have died essentially. So now the FAA is just saying, we need to investigate and find out what happened. And I was just laughing. So and now what? What are you going to tell the children now? I'm sorry, I'm being mean, but that was like crazy. Made me so mad. Okay, the foot, it's now coming along. I need to just close the gaps. And I'm making a little bit of darker notes. I think I brought some black here, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Focus, put all your physical energy, mental energy in working in a way that you're fully engaged. There's no distraction. There's no time to think about what this looks like and if it's good or bad. It's just kind of like you are moving forward nonstop. Jackie joined us on Tuesday, and she's so good at doing that. She came a few minutes late and she left a few minutes early, and her painting was the most accomplished. It was like amazing. She works fast and she's not spending time thinking anything in the sense of like judgment or whatever. It's always amazing to see her work. Okay, that step is coming, it's coming along. It's a little bit of a blurry edge, so I'm just gonna do some sfumato. Let's get the sfumato going on the tarmac. We don't want this to be way too defined. So some sfumato here. It's happening, it's happening. A little bit of light on the pants. I need to bring some highlight on the top of the pants. Okay, good. On the crotch. Okay, here we go. Okay. The tarmac actually comes in more, so I'm gonna shave in a little bit of the dark. Okay, and then the pants, one side of the pants needs a little bit more definition, so it's not so dark. Okay, I got the legs. Maybe a little here. I'm being too insecure. Here we go. I'm being too insecure. There's a definition between the end of the pants and the shoe. I needed to bring it a little bit more. All right. 5 minutes. What else can I do? I'm just gonna blur the edges between the highlights that I put. And that's going to be my my final sprint. Just working. My shoulder is like tight right now. I wonder how they did the competitions in the Olympics. Did they paint there, or they just presented the painting and then they just did a chariot show? That would be interesting. It's just kind of like put him there and paint on site somewhere. Some of the paintings that I've seen are really incredible. Some are super neoclassical and they feel like super boring, but some are pretty bold. All right, so the hand, it's too, I don't know what's the word, but I need to make it a more human-like. And the sleeve, there needs to be a bump, a break on the hand, I mean, on the back of the palm. So it just creates the idea of sleeve. Okay, it's going forward. I'm doing this, a little bit of yellow here. Let's blur and create some sfumato on the pixelation. There certainly needs to be more definition right on the other side, and more yellow on the shoulder. And oh yeah, I'm so like completely fully engaged right now doing this. The gun, what's going to happen with the gun? Okay, let me just kind of like the final minutes. I'm avoiding the gun, and I shouldn't, because I'm just I don't want to paint it. It's interesting. It's not because it's not important. I just don't feel like I want to paint it, but I'm gonna do it. So I have the hand, I need to paint it from the outside. So some yellow, and this is gonna be, no, I have like 5 minutes and a little bit, 10 minutes, just because we started like 5 minutes. So, okay, so let's do this. Some sap green and blue. Let's spend a few minutes with the hand that holds the whatever weapon that is. Okay, so okay, and it's darker green, and it's fading, so it's not all black. So, you know, it's too graphic. It's too graphic. I need to fade it a little bit because I made it all kind of like super dark, and it's just barely shows. There's almost little connection between the actual weapon and the arm. So I'm just gonna bring some blurry strokes right there. Not too dark, not too dark, because it's taking too much protagonism right now, and it's just not that obvious. So there's something behind. There's a strap. Okay, what am I doing with a strap? So I'm gonna try to bring a slightly lighter, but not too light, because otherwise it's just gonna take away or take the attention. It's not good. It's not good. Okay, let's not panic. So a little bit of darkness on that side. And I'm gonna shave this a little bit more. So let me see. Okay, I think that's better. I think that's better. Let's buff. I'm gonna buff the outside because I want to unify the strokes on the negative space, and that's going to give me automatic definition on the actual figure. So I'm just going to completely soften the space by, I say buff it or buffing it just because it's almost like circular motion, small circular motion, in order to remove the strokes. And that kind of like brings, oh yeah, it brings automatic definition without having to change absolutely anything. Oh yeah, let's kind of like shave and close the gaps between the tarmac and helmet, because that's gonna help. Head is too high, but that's okay. Wow, I think that's pretty good actually. I'm just gonna Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's not rest on the laurels. I don't know if that's an expression. Is that an expression, Jen? Rest on the laurel?
Sure is.
Oh, it is. Okay, okay.
Oh,
Okay, I need to lower the hat a little bit more. So I'm shaving it, and I need to lengthen the straps of the hat because I think that's very important to lower it. I'm going to try to lower the actual level of the hat. Yeah, and make the eyes a little lower. Okay. I have a little bit more than 5 minutes, and the eye level bugs me tremendously. So it's a much lower because, you know, it's too high up and it makes it too rigid. It's not, I'm not happy with it. So I'm bringing some darker definition right there. And, but yeah, I'm concentrated. I mean, to sort of like explain what I'm doing, I'm concentrated on the single figure and I'm trying to blend the pixels, work from the outside, make some changes in order to advance the figure, because I like this idea of giving it all in one shot. I like this idea of doing it because that's where we're going to be the most energetic and concentrated, and also because it's it's protecting us from making it too photographic, which will make it super boring. So I of course, it's just a premise from an artist, and we don't have to follow it, but I think there's some really good basis for it. And I think the eye level needs to be darker. The eye level, the glasses, whatever he's wearing, needs to be a little darker. So I'm just gonna go, I'm having difficulty. There's so much that, but that's fine because we can work around it. You know, there's so much paint and so many layers, and there's light paint underneath, and we know how it makes it much more difficult. But in order to bypass the challenge, I just put less pressure on the actual, less pressure on the actual paper, and I'm able to add the darker notes. Yep, I got it. I got it. Add the darker notes. I'm gonna bring a little bit more of the lighter notes here to create this idea of the helmet wrapping and not having a flat, here we go, a flat definition. Yeah, maybe a couple of dots right there, whatever it's reflective. There are two pieces of equipment on the helmet that make it a little lighter. So, but again, I'm using sheer observation and no judgment. So I'm constantly sort of like trying to adjust, manipulate, and the shoulders need to be higher. So now something else, it reveals itself. This shoulder, especially this shoulder, needs to be much higher. It just creates this idea of foreshortened perspective or point of view, much higher. Okay, good. So lowering the helmet line, the eye level, raising the shoulders makes the head sink on the upper torso, and it gives more the idea of the head in fact being more correlated with the strong point of view of the legs. I think I need more white to lower the, it looks like a mustache, but it may not be a mustache, but I need to lower that a tad and bring some darker green to bring the either mustache or strap a little bit lower. Oh yeah, very good. Okay, And helmet needs to be lower, even lower now. Totally. There's a little thing going on here. What else can I do in the next 2 minutes? I can just blend this maybe a tad more and smudge it. Maybe bring a little bit of highlight, lower highlight of the chin. And I think that, okay, that is it. I'm stopping right now, and 1 minute short of the time that I set myself. And I am exhausted. My shoulder hurts, my elbow hurts, but I'm so thrilled and happy that I was able to do something that I feel really confident about and feel confident in showing it. So I would love to work a little bit more on it, but let's do this. Please take a photo, whatever stage you're at. I don't care if you made one mark on the paper, but let's kind of like debrief, talk, chat, take 10 minutes. Let's follow the sort of like post painting script, stretch, walk around, drink. I just had some LaCroix and I didn't even open it. Eat and use the restroom. Listen to your body and take care of its needs. And then at 1:10, let's reconvene, open the microphones, and then chat. And we want to hear how your experience was. I think we're really curious. All right, we'll see you in 10 minutes.